I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honoring the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
The meeting will please come to order. We do have proof of posting in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. At this time, any members of the public who wish to speak shall have 5 minutes to speak.
Good morning, Judge Grant, Commissioners. Today I'd like to make a presentation of the need to have a noise meter for this county. And the reason we need this meter is because we have all these compressor stations in the county, and here's 130 of them in Freestone County that are generating a lot of low-frequency noise. And low-frequency noise can kill you. We already had several people in Freestone County dead, some of them living near me. And I've been in the hospital 3 times, gave brain damage 3 times. The Lord's healed it, so I'm still here. Well, I have low blood pressure since my noise meter is not working anymore. It's wore out. But we need to have a noise meter to prove what's happening in this county. And we need to do something to protect our people. And I have talked to our prospective state legislature to get them apprised of what's happening in this county, and not just this county, but there are 27 counties with more than 1,000 gas wells in Texas. And this county is number 8 in number of gas wells. And so we have a major issue here. And I can show here, like October the 18th, my blood pressure was 228 over 125. And it was at 7:45 p.m. And then 2:51 hours, my blood pressure was 199 over 99. My normal is 120 over 70. I haven't seen that in a long time. It's all because of that compressor station unit. Now, we did hit a kind of low one time here, and this was October the 19th, yesterday. Blood pressure 147 over 69. That was a good day. But there's so many different days here where it's over 200. So what can you do? You can take some special pills to help get your blood pressure down. And I've got some stuff from a doctor in Lafayette, Indiana. Went to her because she was one of the 2 doctors that knows anything about vibroacoustic disease. And it's prevalent here. And we've had a lot of people harmed in this county and people dying. Some of them very close to me. 4 men would have testicular cancer, they had to have their testicles removed. And that's never happened here in this county before. So we need to have a noise meter that shows there is a problem. And we don't have something to show that there's a problem. How are you going to react? So I request that you guys put it in the agenda for the next meeting, vote on buying one of the noise meters. They're essential to determine what's out here, because most people can't hear it. Only 7% of people can hear low frequency noise. So you've got to have a meter to prove what's here. And it's all over this county because I have taken noise meter readings with my meter a couple of years ago, all over the county. And it's here, everywhere. And now, 7% of people can hear low frequency noise. So the fact that you don't hear it doesn't mean it's not there. And we also need to uphold the federal law. A copy of it here. In 1978, in 1972 and 78, there were 2 laws passed at the federal level, and they have not been rescinded by Congress, and they're still in effect today. For instance, you need no more than 55 decibels of noise generally in the surrounding area. And it says here, one of the purposes of this document is to provide a basis for state and local governments' judgments in setting standards. And it referenced 70 decibels maximum generally, and then in the place where people live, the limit is 55 decibels. So we're not hitting that yet. And we need to know for sure, and that's why I'm looking to put this on the agenda for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen, would you come get this? Any other members, or any other, members of the public who would like to speak this morning? All right. If not, we'll go to item number 1, which is a public hearing on the plan for the district clerk's archive fund. It is 9:10 that we are going into a public hearing. The archive fund says the goal is to reproduce and archive all 1990 and forward civil, criminal, family, juvenile documents, regardless of type, as efficiently as possible. And that is the goal of this plan. And also restoring other records and things that you might have in your office that need to be retained. Says the district clerk's office is requesting 1 part-time employee to assist with packing up records and keeping records in order during this process. And I believe that is in the budget already.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. The district clerk's office currently holds over 1,000 books regarding all of those different areas. There are permanent records. They collect a fee of $10 for each item that is filed, and that goes into that fund, and they pay, that fund pays for the part-time person that's going to be doing it. Anything else you want to say about that?
Well, right now I have my records, my archive records on shelves down at the storeroom, and I'm running out of room. So I've got a man from Filex going to come and give me a bid on either some more shelves or get my old records from 1990 forward archived. And Avenue is going to come give me a bid on that. I'm just running out of room, for records, but that's my plan.
All right. Does anyone have any discussion or questions about the plan?
Where would you archive it if you took some out of that year or more room? Where would you archive it?
Well, they would just make copies of it and of all the records. I would still have the records, they just wouldn't be in files.
Oh,
Old files down there. The files are real old and they're coming apart, in other words. They're real old files.
All right, we're in a public hearing on this preservation and restoration records plan. Any other discussion?
Do you have to go out for bid on it, Trish? Go out for bid on it?
I do.
Yeah.
That's why I've got those 2 companies that I'm gonna get bids from and see what they'll charge to do this stuff for me.
Now, when we talk about bids, is that seal bids?
Well, if they're on the buy board, then we're fine.
Okay.
But if not, if they're not on the buy board, then we would need to do the seal bids and actually send them a bid packet and put it in the newspaper. But if, just talk to them and see if they're on any kind of a competitive buy board,
Okay.
then we'll be fine.
I don't know if bid was the right word, but give me a price maybe.
Right. Just find out if they're on the buy board. That's
Okay.
the biggest thing.
Okay.
All right, if there's not anything else, we will go out of out of the public hearing at 9:15. And we will go to item number 2, which is the district clerk preservation and restoration records plan. Do we have a motion to approve that plan?
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 3 is to approve the minutes of the October 5th meeting.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 4 is budget transfers and amendment. And we have one for the 22 budget that we just finished in September, and then one for the new budget that we're in. And you can see at the top of the page where it says the following list of 22 budget transfers and 23 budget transfers. The long list is for last year's, just, you see they're all very small amounts, they're just adjusting the line items. And then there are 2 for this time. All right, on the 2023 budgets, I see that there are some for the fire departments. Is that other figure just the balance of what we've got on our little spreadsheet that we've been working for, like the vehicles and all of that?
The other expense, that 544,000,
313,000?
that's for the vehicles, the capital outlay.
Okay.
That's the sheriff's department capital outlay, that's for the sheriff's vehicles.
Yeah, 570, okay, I didn't.
So we just had to do new POs because it's a new year,
Mhm.
and so,
Okay. Okay. All right. Is there any discussion on any of those? If not, do we have a motion to approve the budget transfers and amendments and the certification for the $27,817.30 unclaimed property capital credit funds that have been received? And those we have voted to split between the 2 libraries.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. You have a copy of those? Mhm. Item number 5 is to approve and pay the bills. The first little set, which is for the normal fees, first 11 pages, and then the next bunch is our regular bills. And I have another call on this, on the training center.
Got a question.
Yes, sir.
On this page 8, what is that total?
It probably, if you look at the page before, let me see that. Don't know specifically, but before.
Oh, there we go, I got it, I missed that.
Wait, now, is that,
Yeah. That's 7,
That's
that's 8,
who-
there we go, I got it.
and it shouldn't do that, I don't know why it does.
Yeah, okay, I missed that page.
On page 7 and 8,
Yeah.
they're added together, or whatever.
I missed 7.
Yeah. Well, that's not, it very seldom does that, I don't know why, the program itself. No, it may do it all on those special funds there. Special bills at the front,
Okay.
what we call Friday bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bill.
I second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 6 is to approve payroll. Any discussion on that? is reports. We have a report from the investment committee. You can probably have a copy of that report. And it's showing the investments that the county has and the interest rates on the second page. We're going up a little bit, thank goodness. And where the money all is invested. Okay, we have a report from the sick leave pool for the quarter, July to September, July 1st to September 30th. There were no request approvals or denials from the sick leave pool during that period. Treasurer's office is a report for the accumulated sick time, the hours for these, and the value. Unfunded liability report, the sick time, the vacation time, comp time, and holiday time.
Judge Grant, on that one, I was just gonna say the holiday time has a big value, but because that pay period ended October 1, we added in the holiday. So it's the brand new 96 hours for everybody, so that's why that's so high.
Okay, for the quarter ending October the 1st. I see that
The
now. I
pay
didn't-
period ended October 1st, so.
Okay, so that has, all of that, the whole year's holiday time is accrued.
Yes,
And it
ma'am.
just clicks off as we go
Yes,
through.
ma'am.
Are y'all being able to let people off for their holidays more than what?
Yeah, we've been able to keep up with it, Your Honor.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
We also have a report from the Extension Office from JP3 for report ending for September. Senior Services has a report. JP2 has a report. District Clerk has a report. County Clerk has a report. Does anyone else have a report? All right, if not, do we have a motion to accept the reports?
I'll make that motion. Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 8, burn ban. Leonard is not here. Karen Elizabeth, would you go ask Beth if there was something on, in relationship to the burn ban that we were supposed to talk about today?
The do dump.
Do you know?
The do dump.
I was the one that had to call about the burn ban was on.
Oh, okay, thank you, ma'am.
Remember,
Yes.
I don't know if they could dump it to you for free,
Well,
and then,
a long time ago, we did do that. We let the fees be waived during that period of time. But then later on, there was discussion about, people that live in the cities and throughout the counties, they still have to pay fees, whether there's a burn ban on or not. So that's when it was changed to where you still had to pay the fees.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what we did in the past. I'm just giving you the history of it, but
I
not.
just don't not bring it up.
Yes, sure. Sure.
No action.
You know, burn it, no action, yeah.
All right, we'll leave the burn down with no action. All right, item number 9 is special road use agreement. Does anyone have one? No? All right, no action. Item number 10 is bonds and education certificates. I do not have any. No action. Item number 11 is corrected payroll for the pay period ending October the 1st. There was some admin time that was not reflected on the last report that we had, and so we amended that to show that there was admin time. It is a corrected one, and this was in the under the district judge. There was an incident in the office, and so he had let her not go to the office, or leave the office that afternoon. So do we have a motion to approve the
Do we
corrected?
sign that?
Yes, we will.
Well, okay,
Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Thank you. Item number 12 is a resolution to participate with Texas class. We had a presentation from the gentleman and thought we might use his services, but then when we decided we could use, decided we could use Texpool, and you're comfortable doing that with the ARPA funds, we still could either participate and just have it there in case we wanted to use it, or we could not, and if we need to use it, we can do it at that time.
Doesn't cost anything to sign up, does it?
Say that again?
Doesn't cost you anything to sign up.
That's correct, it does not. And we, just so y'all know, we have already set that fund up in Texpool, and we have already transferred what was requested by the court, the 2.2, so that has already been done through Texpool.
Do you think it
Rate
would
might
be,
be better in the future. His rate might be better in the future, and I think he said it was paid daily instead of at the end of the month.
right, that's correct.
Doesn't cost anything, I say sign up.
Excuse me. What do you recommend?
I can just tell you that counties that are at the conferences and on listserv and stuff, a lot of them do multiple ones, so they can be more diversified, so they can put money in different ones, and so you have it covered. And so, a lot of counties do that just so they can have a better diversified portfolio.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and that motion is to participate with Texas class. CLAS. Do we have a second?
I'll say it.
All right, all in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 13 is a contract and agreement signed between Freestone County and the T Public Library. It's the same agreement we have every year, that we will fund the library, and by us doing that, they agree to provide those services. We do have a great library. Lots of kids attend. Lots of adults do too, but I guess I focus more on the kids. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carries. Item number 14 is the same thing, except it's for the Fairfield Library Association. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. And it is, and the consideration is for whatever is in the budget. So if we change the amounts that we pay to them, it automatically changes. So item number 15 is an agreement with the Soil and Water Conservation District for contract for services. We fund them a small amount, I think it's still $2,000 if I remember right. In consideration of them providing services to our residents. And the good thing about that is they're able to turn that into the state, and then the state will match that money to them. Do we have a motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Uh,
Now, item number 16 is the approval for the release of the driver records database to governmental entities. And Karen handles that in her office.
We run the driver's license every year for everybody that drives a county-owned vehicle, and so they give us points, and, you know, we don't ever have anybody that fail, but if we should, then we would notify the supervisor and say, hey, you know, had some issues and whatever, but, so
Has
we
to
do
with
that.
their insurance too.
It does, and they're very impressed that we do that. And so they took it, when they found out that we did it, they took it to other counties and said, this is what they do,
Mhm.
and, you know, so.
That's good. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor, aye? Motion carried. We need to reschedule the November 2nd Commissioners Court regular meeting. Because the commissioners are going to be at a conference on that day. You want it the day before, the day after, or what? Doesn't matter to either one of y'all, does it? Doesn't have anything to do. Don't have a payroll on that.
I did have TCDRS scheduled to come that day, just to talk to employees and all that, and so I've reached out to them and canceled that, because I didn't know if
Okay.
that was gonna get canceled.
Okay. All right, you want the day before, or the day after?
yeah,
Seemed like we talked about something about why it needed to be the day before, or the day after. You remember that? Anybody? Okay.
Day after.
Day after. To November the 3rd. That's my little court's birthday. Have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
The motion is to reschedule the November 2nd Commissioners Court meeting to November the 3rd. All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 18 is consider the replat. Do you want to continue that to next time?
I have all the stuff, I just don't have, I don't think there's anybody here for that. And, I'm not sure if I paid, how could we?
All right, we'll pass this to next.
Okay.
Item number 19 is a presentation by the Air Med Care Network, Air EVAC. That's what we know it as.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am B. Davis. I am the membership sales manager for Air Medicare Network, which is our lovely air helicopter, air ambulance service. My presentation for today is to propose that we want to offer a membership plan to the county. It is $65 per person that will be paid by the county, and we also offer for a payroll deduct. I was told that with the census plan, the census plan that we have is the county paying for each county employee, but for that one, the county would pay for that up front and then cover all the members. The payroll deduct is just pretty much what it says. We don't.
But if it was a payroll deduction, that would mean the employee was actually paying for it.
Correct, and that gives the employee also the option, if they were to leave, their county job, they would be able to take that membership with them. With the census plan, it's a little bit different because the county would own that slot, so to speak. For anybody who left, another person would be hired and come into that spot. Again, it is $65 that we're offering for the county per employee. Yes, ma'am.
And does that cover the family also?
That covers everyone in the household. Yes, ma'am, for that family. And please excuse me, I'm nervous. This is my first time doing this. But, hey, I talk to a lot of people. But, yes, ma'am. So it does cap, the employee and everyone that's in their household. And so the membership, monies that are paid, they also help go for the maintenance and everything for our helicopters to be able to provide the services in Freestone County.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we probably need to think about this a little bit.
Okay.
Probably get maybe a little survey from the employees to see if, if it's gonna be, if they're gonna actually be paying for it. I know, like, I already have a membership, and I think a number have.
Well, what it does, if you already have a membership, it'll do like a rollover. So with the county being, paying for it now or doing a payroll deduct after you retire, and then you're no longer with the county, that's when your individual membership will pick back up. So as long as you're active, in the employee role, the county will pay for that. But when you retire, then that's when your actual plan itself picks up again.
Y'all wanna think about it maybe the next time and see, if the employees are interested, and, maybe do a little survey, send out a little survey or something. Since they'll be paying for it. All right, is that, all right. We're gonna have to table this then to next time.
Okay,
And,
I do want y'all to take into consideration, we are having the first price increase will be in January. It's the first one that we've done in like 30 years. So it's not, something that we increase every year or every other year. It's been 30 years since we had a price increase, and I think it's going up like $10. So.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
If someone's in an accident and they're a member of Air Evac, and all the Air Evac helicopters are gone, and a different service comes in and picks that person up, do they have any coverage at all?
They don't have any coverage as far as that entity that comes to pick them up, because that's not who your membership is with. So I think the other one that's around this area is PHI. So if PHI was to come in and pick you up when Air Evac was, out of pocket, then no, it would be no coverage for that.
what about for inmates?
No. The way that goes is, it's that gray area. Because depending on what helicopter we have at the base, if it is the smaller helicopter, it is not enough room for an officer to go with them and be transported. So that's what makes the difference. But if we do have the larger craft older, then, the officer can be transported with the inmate. That's when it
Well,
comes
we
into
couldn't
play.
do it by person name, it just have to be inmate. Because,
Correct.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. It's the same rules apply to that as it would in a hospital. Yes, ma'am.
All right, do we have a motion to table?
I'll make that motion.
I see.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Number 20 is ARPA funds. I'll tell you what, let's, if you don't mind, let me make this one announcement, and then, because this might be a little lengthier discussion on our ARPA funds, and our officer might need to leave, so I do want to say that we have this flyer. You're cordially invited to attend our dedication ceremony to honor our fallen brother by dedicating the Texas Department of Public Safety Cessna in his honor in a section of our highway as the Trooper Chad M. Walker Memorial Highway. And that will be at 3 o'clock, November the 8th, at the Prospect Civic Center.
Yes, ma'am.
And everyone is invited.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You're welcome to stay, but I didn't know if you might need to leave.
I'm good to stay, ma'am.
All right. right, we'll go now back to number 20, which is our American Rescue Plan. We do have, y'all are here for that today.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you want to come forward and talk to us a little bit about it?
Where should I come forward? Okay, sure.
Would you feel more comfortable if you sat at, like at the front of that table so you could lay your documents down or something?
I can stand wherever you.
It's just wherever you're comfortable.
Sure.
Do y'all want to take a short break before we do this?
I would like to get a different, company's bid sheet on this.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Other company's bid sheet.
You're welcome.
Generator. Got this one.
Maybe don't talk about the water. How about that? Pretty much, I think. All right.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Judge, Commissioners, staff. My name is Jennifer Burkage. I am Freestone County's project manager. I also have Joe Carroll. She's one of our managers as well with us. The point of this presentation, which is only 7 pages, I promise, is for an overview of ARPA, quick refresher. So going off to just the second slide here, just an agenda is ARPA refresher, an overview of all your projects to date, where we're at, a discussion about the beneficiaries, and then what our next steps would be.
All right.
Feel free to stop me at any point in time if you have any questions, but I'll stop periodically as well on the slides. Going to the next slide. The total allocation from ARPA for Freestone County is $3,826,796. You'll see that minusing the grant works fee and then the remainder in yellow there.
And what now?
The remainder after the grant works fee is in yellow on that slide.
All right. I thought we got 3,900,000. We didn't?
3.8, it was 1.9 and 1.9, so 3.8.
Okay. This says total allocation is 3,829,000.
I'll have to look at the exact number.
Oh, okay.
I'll look at the exact number
Okay.
that we got. Was it 1.9?
All right, I'm sorry. We're right
I
here.
don't know what it was.
The
Actually,
exact, but we'll have to look at
yes.
that
Yeah.
to make sure.
Going to the next slide, brief refresher about ARPA. There are 4 basic expenditures, which is 1, the public health, specifically related to COVID-19, the premium pay for eligible employees, the provision of government services, and then water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. And so the funds need to be obligated or under contract by the end of 2024, and then they need to be expended by the end of 2026. Going to the next slide here. This is your project update. To date, this is what I have. This is the statuses I have. Anything in yellow, we don't have a definitive yet. It may be we got quotes, we haven't decided on quotes, or we're going to go out to bid, or we're getting quotes. It just depends. It's a different project. But these are all the projects that I have heard of that have been put into place some way, somehow. The blue-purple color there is what the total right now of all of those projects are that we have budgets for. And then the remaining that's available for projects is in the pink. Do I have any questions so far?
No questions? I just, would it be safe to say that project number 10, we can take that off the list? We're not going to do that because rather than going out for that one air conditioner, we're doing that. It's just easier just to do it that way. The dispatch headsets, did you find those on buy board where we're gonna buy those rather than going through?
I have not, I don't know, I'd prefer them kind of look and show me what they need first,
Yeah,
so that we get the right.
okay.
We're getting 3,000, so what that is.
It's $3,000 for the headsets.
I'm actually not sure if it's 3,000 or 3,000 quantity.
That's.
No, no, it's
Yeah.
approximately 3,000, I think, the amount that y'all were requesting for headsets. And
Yes,
so
ma'am.
if it's going the way everything else is going, everything that we're bidding out, it seems like through the ARPA funds is a lot more expensive than just buying it through our regular buy board situation. So, that's why we may be looking at just doing that. Since it's such a small amount, that would save having to go through all that, procedure. We'll check about that. All right. The number 12 is pending. We're getting the prices on that. And maybe the 13, but what were you gonna say, Andy?
Forgot them now.
Oh, I should let you say, that's why I wanted to finish what I was saying. I knew I'd forget. Okay.
We did
We don't have the
receive,
big things are not on this list because we haven't really gotten to that stage to where it's ordered or, we're like the RFP pending on the side-by-side. So the major part of it is still not reflected on that sheet, of course.
Jeannie did bring us today the specs for the Fairfield Fire for their side-by-side so that we can get that
Okay.
seal bid out.
Okay. All right, yeah.
And we did get at least 2 quotes for the 14 generators, and that was a pretty big ticket price, but there was a.
Could we get a copy of that second bid? Do you have the
You know,
second?
you printed this one off, Karen, on, with Waukesha Pierce.
Uh-huh.
The one that had it broke down where it was the equipment and installation per unit was the loft and equipment,
You want that?
if you don't mind.
Do you want to go?
Oh, here it is right
This is
here.
just one.
Okay.
One copy, but
Perfect.
If you'll hand it to
I'll let
Carol
her-
Elizabeth, she'll make a contact. Or 5, or 6. All right.
Should I wait for her or to discuss that, or you just wanted a copy?
No, you just go ahead with what you're saying and what you're telling us, we're good.
Okay, perfect. So going to the next slide, if there are no more questions about the current projects to date. ARPA is a new program. There's not really much history with ARPA, which is really hard sometimes when they come out with new updates. And then when we need clarification, it can take a little while as well because the entire United States got this funding. And so there are a lot of different designations. Freestone County is a recipient, an entity that received ARPA funding. There's also a beneficiary designation, which is basically an entity that receives the recipient's assistance in their mission or goal. A good example of this is a food bank. And
So that would be like one of the fire departments is a beneficiary?
Are they included in the normal budget every year?
Mhm.
They are? Okay, so they would technically be a recipient. They would be a part of Freestone County,
Okay.
if I'm understanding correctly.
We fund money to them. They are independent from us though.
Okay,
We do a contract for services with them.
I see. So they could be deemed as a beneficiary.
We
yes,
also own trucks.
Some of them.
Some of the fire trucks belong to the county.
But it's a joint effort in some way, somehow.
Right.
Mhm.
So they would be a beneficiary.
Correct, and they wouldn't be subject to the federal reporting, monitoring, or compliance. It doesn't mean they're not, they are required to follow state and local procedures, those kind of things, but not federal specifically, if they are deemed as a beneficiary.
So would a water company be a beneficiary?
It depends. So right now, like I said, with ARPA being constantly changing, we actually received an update recently in the end of July of where you see the italics here saying they aren't a sub-award, essentially. There are no sub-awards. Initially, I designated them as a sub-recipient. That was, I don't remember when I came on, honestly, when I came on, and we didn't have this update from Treasury.
And with that sub-recipient, we would be responsible, it looked like to me, for them following the correct procedures, and we'd have to monitor.
Correct. And
Okay.
monitoring can mean at 30%, we get some kind of status update. 60%, it doesn't have to be extensive, but it's something that we are contracted to do for you. So if that were the case, we did designate them as subrecipients. With the update in Treasury, it's a bit of a gray area too, that technically they could be a beneficiary as well. We're trying to get more clarification from Treasury to do this. So it just depends with the water supply corporations. I know that's how this initially stemmed.
Speaking just for myself, if they could be a beneficiary and not subject to federal reporting, monitoring, or compliance requirements, then I would feel comfortable with that. But if we are responsible for monitoring the funds, then I'm a little skeptical about that.
I completely understand. It can be a lot. It also depends on what they're hoping to do. Does anybody have any idea of what they're planning?
Of the water companies,
What we had planned on doing was, originally, we thought we would buy a generator for each one of them. Well, as it's turning out, the generators are so much more expensive. We wanted to maybe just do a flat amount for each one of them,
Okay.
rather than buying the whole generator, just apply and pay a portion of that cost. Am I saying that right? Is that what y'all are thinking?
Yes, ma'am.
Are these replacement generators?
Ma'am?
Replacement generators or
No,
new?
They're new.
They're brand new, so they would need the concrete slab, the electrical, all of that. Would they
You know,
be the same cost?
for those, for the water companies, they are regulated by TCEQ. So, that gives me a lot more confidence in everything being up to a certain standard.
They were
Because
also mandated again,
they have,
unfunded
they
mandate.
have.
unfunded
Correct.
mandate to have a generator.
Correct, that
Your
came out
government
recently.
work. There you go. We won't go into that today.
No.
But we want to help them, but there's a limit to what we can do, you know, there's so many of them. So if we could figure out an amount that we could provide them, even if we have to give a check to the company that they're buying those generators from, or however we would need to handle that, then I think that would be our easiest way. Is that what y'all are thinking?
One of the problems with that is that, one of the water companies has already purchased.
Mhm.
They're waiting on it to arrive. Another company went to a local bank and borrowed money, and they're waiting on theirs to arrive. So, if they've already sent payment,
Mhm.
then we wouldn't be able to pay the company. We would just be reimbursing or paying down on their note.
Mhm.
It may be a little,
Trickier there.
yes, in those situations. If they haven't gotten anything, then yes. Now, I will tell you, even with the generators that, I don't think they're for any of the water supply corporations, the recent quotes, that took, the lead times for that is 44 weeks to a year just to get the generators in.
Mhm.
So they still won't have,
But speaking of that, okay, this quote from Lofton Equipment, and I know this, the quoting the same buildings, and both entities sent in, their bids were the exact same amount. What are the odds of that?
well, more or less. I actually, when I was comparing Lofton and WPI, so Lofton, their total cost was, I'm just gonna round for the sake of these, $810,000. WPI was $818,000. Now, I did notice on WPI, they had one extra generator on there for Donnie Rock Building. I'm not sure that, it's for the Donnie.
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 The rock building.
Donnie.
That's because me and Andy's wanted escort around the county.
Yeah.
That's what that's all. We took one group there, didn't take the other group there. That's our fault for it.
Oh, okay, sorry, I did not catch that. Well, the quotes aren't apples to apples, let's just say that, in the way that Lawton, with every single building, they included the generator cost and the installation in their total cost. With WPI, they did each generator separate, and then they did a lump sum for installation. So you can't really say, this building is going to cost $50,000 for both sides. It's a little
It
complicated.
just seems coincidental that it was so close.
I agree with that. I was really surprised. I knew it would be a hefty sum, but that's a
I
good
was more surprised about the hefty sum, yeah, I really was.
It's a big number. But if you try to, the only way I could compare the prices without having to go back to the vendor was take out the Donny building. Take that out altogether, and then their fee, the WPI fee, would go down to $794,000 for these generators.
Okay, now, another question. So, on the Lofton, the first quote is for Butler Fire Department. And they quoted that generator, installation, the transfer switch, everything for $42,905. So, I contacted a company out of Palestine who has been doing stuff with Anderson County. They're familiar with ARPA funds. They've done stuff for City of Palestine and a lot of the water co-ops who were mandated to get the generators. And they quoted a generator that's actually 2 kilowatt larger. Installation, delivery, installation, hooked up, ready to go for $13,500. So we could, I see no reason to waste money with these people right here, because I don't understand why they're bidding $42,900 when we have someone who's licensed, experienced, has done it before, and they can do it at 2/3 of the cost. My question is, can we accept that bid if they're not on a HGAC board?
They would have to be on SAM.gov, for one, the federal website that they can do dealings with federal funds, for one. So I don't know if that's the case. And two, we would probably have to ask for bids again for them to qualify. Because in this case, we followed the federal procurement of asking for 3 bids, soliciting to the historically underutilized businesses, minority women, etc. We did everything by procurement. We would have to redo that if they wanted to put in another bid.
Well, that's why I think we might need to revamp our situation.
Well, something, I mean, these 2 companies that we did get bids from, they're not under whatever company.
They're not. They're not.
They're
But
not
they,
woman-owned or anything like that, and it's just, I mean, it's a 28,000 and something dollars per unit difference in price that we could save.
If you think about it, we're spending our money.
yes.
Everybody in this room is money.
Oh, yeah. That tax money has to come from somewhere.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And it's already come out of our money. You have the money.
I think, you know,
I'm ready to get rid of the money though. It's the
I-
hardest money to spend I've ever seen. But I don't want to give it to people like this that are going to make $28,000 for nothing.
It comes with a lot of red tape, I will say. Sometimes he's nice. Hard work.
I think our option is to not buy the generators through the ARPA funds.
Right.
And for us to buy the generators and then put that money that we were gonna spend on generators, put that into the road and bridge program, and we could make it work the same way.
So if that's the case, our main goal is to figure out how can we give each water company.
Yes,
Oh,
that's where we
somewhere.
are, I think, on it, because we could not go through ARPA for those generators. I mean, I can't see how we could even think about doing that. When you can buy one for 15 and they're charging us 42, that's just unrealistic to me, not realistic.
If you transfer that money into road and bridge, is there some kind of stupid bookkeeping going to have to be done on it?
Well, a lot of not at all.
Andy is gonna show to be there, but it's not there.
Well, I
Well,
understand.
the reason,
Who's paying?
a lot of those grants, especially federal grants, have a ton of work that we have to do. And then you get very little money off of them, but this is not.
That's
because
where we come and play, that's where I come and help you, and I.
And if the money was right on the generators, we'd just be going straight on through with that, but I just don't see how we can do that.
Well, with the recent mandate on having generators right now are in high demand. And so you see these bids and that's what they're coming in at these days, and they can, because they know that there is a need for it. So it works for us, and it doesn't work for us to have this money.
Yeah.
Everybody is.
We're gonna have to look into that part. But let's go to the water company now.
Sure, sure.
Let's stay on that. If they are a beneficiary, it says they're not subject to federal reporting, monitoring, or compliance requirements. They are not. But what about us? If we want to fund money to a water company, the water company may not be subject to federal reporting, but are we subject to that reporting? And not just the original installation, but, you know, in future years.
When it comes to reporting, annual reporting, you would not have to enter that into the Treasury website. However, you are required to keep this, all the documentation that you do, the agreements that you put together for these water supply corporations at the end of this allocation, so that if, let's say, an audit were to come, whatever the case is, down the line, you would have it prepared.
We would keep the documentation. But what
Correct.
I'm talking about is if we put money, and it was specified as part payment on a generator for a water company, would we have to monitor that money actually was spent for that, and that they were maintaining it, or anything?
If that's
What would be our requirements under that?
If that's what you would want it to be like, then we would put that in the agreement, and that would be the case.
Judge, if I can, Jennifer, excuse me. Hi, I'm Joe Carroll, and I'd like to maybe add to the conversation here. The problem that has been occurring with the U.S. Treasury, and actually we were anticipating it getting worse, because now you probably got a notice from them that they're going to actually cut down, reduce the level of guidance that they're giving everyone. But the guidance that is out there sometimes is conflicting, even in the same document that they issue. It'll be conflicting, you know, it says this here, and then later on in the document it says something else. One of the biggest challenges we have is determining how to classify an organization, whether as a subrecipient or as a beneficiary. And we understand totally the benefit of having an organization be called a beneficiary, because it reduces the impact on that organization receiving the funds. If they're a subrecipient, then all the rules that apply to you apply to them, including, and this is the big one, is the 2 CFR 200 procurement compliance. And it means they would have to go through the federal process, which we can help them with, in procuring anything that they want to purchase. It also means that you do have to do monitoring, which Jennifer, you know, can do that for you. If they're a beneficiary, that goes away. The monitoring goes away unless you have some local requirements that you want to put in place, in which we would encourage you to. And then the procurement requirements go away as well. The challenge is there's probably a little bit of a risk that if the county wants to fund them as a beneficiary, we don't feel that, as it stands now, that the guidance from Treasury 100% supports that decision. So I think our best recommendation to you is to fund them as a subrecipient, reduce the risk of the clawback. It does mean more work for you, which means more work for us, but that's fine. But we think that's probably the safer route to go.
That being the original subrecipient agreement that we had a copy of?
Yeah, we have been in regular contact with Treasury, trying to get this answered, and they just literally do not respond. And at this point, you know, a lot of cities and counties need to make a decision, because you need to move forward, then we're gonna have to say our recommendation is that you would fund them as a subrecipient.
As far as the reporting, if we keep the file, if they can prove and justify to us how the funds that we give them are spent, and we keep that, is that not enough to report?
The problem to me seems to be, if we go the sub-recipient route, we have to be sure that they advertise correctly, which, the way that y'all advertise, and reach the underserved or whatever population that's supposed to be, that, and then monitor the use of it too.
Not the use, but more of how, just the steps of where they are. So if they run the generators, the lead time is a year. We would be checking out with them maybe halfway through and saying, if you got your generator. And then when they get the generator, we would be doing an update of, okay, where are you 2 weeks from your installation, or however long the installation is. You know, with a generator, it's a really simple project in the way of when you get out there, you do it, you remove, you're done, kind of thing. So the monitoring,
monitors, if it's set up right and all of that.
we would just take the engineer, electrician's status update at that point. I mean, we wouldn't be able to say whether or not it was compliant.
The thing about that is all those water companies have to have an engineered plan for installation, so they'll already have that.
But now, as a sub-recipient, could we do just a certain amount toward a generator?
Can you not fund the entire generator? You can, but it triggers the same requirements, whether it's $1 or whether it's 1,000 or whatever.
But just a question on that, what Lloyd was talking about, if you went back out for RFPs, the competitive bidding, and he has this company already, he could give y'all the name of that company and say, send that bid packet to them, and then they could bid on that same
Yes,
generator
they could
since you've
rebid.
already got these other ones to bid on.
Sure, that's definitely possible.
So if they were willing to do it,
And
and
they
if they come in under bid,
Right, then that probably, for that section, that's
that
probably
won't help
what
us
we
on the
need.
water deal, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
And make sure that they are in SAM.gov to receive federal funds, because that has, SAM.gov, because of all of ARPA, they have been inundated, just constant updates. It's not the best website either to get registered from. So if they haven't started that process, I suggest starting that process.
The owner of the company was familiar with what Anderson County was doing with their ARPA funds, and they had already done some purchase or done some installation of generators for them. And so I would think that they're a member, but I'll just have to double check.
I would think so, and I will say, when we solicited these generators, I was advised to only send it to those within a certain mile radius. So if you wanted to open that radius outside of, I think it was
This is actually closer than the two companies.
Really?
This is 42 miles.
Oh, okay, I take that back. I take that back. But if there may be more, I don't know. If you had others that you wanted to solicit to, because other than the newspaper, us sending it to them directly will hopefully ensure more bids.
Okay, but if we rebid, we could send it to them specifically
It would
too.
just be a third bid.
Yeah. And you may get more, who knows, but if we rebid, I think that would, you know, good thing for us to try. Now, what are we gonna do about the water systems? If we only wanted to spend a certain amount.
Sure. I think that's totally possible. I've seen clients actually do that, where they go and give just a designated amount to different precincts. I've seen that done, but they typically have an agreement with them. And so we could look at the agreement and try to make it as compliant and reduce the risk as much as possible, and then go forward from there. And then these being generators, I mean, it's going to take a while to come in anyway, delivery-wise.
Jennifer, what if we did a contract for service for each one of them, like we do with our fire departments, and in different organizations, would that help in reducing any kind of risk if, you know, as far as even, I mean, doing the sub-recipient agreement? I mean,
We can certainly look at it. I can't say yes or no without looking at the agreement, but I don't see why not. Sure.
Well, I think, yeah, we definitely want to look at that. The only thing about doing, I'm gonna call it, sorry, partial funding, okay? You don't, there needs to be a result at the end, right? Because you have to show the impact. So if we're giving everyone the $10, then let's make sure that they can actually do something that is completed with that $10. You don't want to give them 10 and they need 25 and they can't fund it and they just sit there and put it in the bank. That won't work. It has to be something that,
Okay, say you give them 30,000, they only spend 25, is that a problem?
Well, I think in our
No.
situation, if all of them are gonna be $75,000 and we're gonna pay 30,000, they have to get these generators. TCEQ is mandating that they get them, so we know that money will be spent on those.
we just want to make sure that they have the money, that the remaining
Yes.
balance
Yeah.
in place so that they sit there and 2 years from now, they still don't have the you know, what they need, and you can't buy a generator.
That could,
Yeah.
We had one bid come in, or a price come in when we first started this on Turnington. If y'all remember Tom and Loretta.
I got it right here.
And they were $70,000 each.
Yeah.
74, I think.
That's great.
Which is why we can't just buy a generator for each one. You know, it'd be nice if we could. If we could get some more money for us from the government, we could do that,
Are
but
you
that's.
sure you want more money? That's not money.
What is 70,000?
Well, most of us live on
prairies.
those, water systems anyway out in the country, and we have to pay,
Came in 69.
we'll have to pay for them indirectly anyway.
Ward Prairie was 120, wasn't it?
That was for,
That,
it was 130 for two.
for two.
Yeah, but here's Turlington's right here, and it
Yeah.
was it was $74,400
Each.
each if
Yeah.
you were wanting two. But the mandate says they only have to have one.
right, per system,
Yeah.
per
Yeah.
water system.
And I talked to South Freestone County and I told them, I said, look, you know, right now, we've just been kicking around, we're looking at, we had 2 additional water companies kind of come in the picture that we wasn't talking about originally. And so instead of being able to do more, we're looking at trying to spread 60,000, you know, each large water company getting about $60,000.
Or 50, depending on the amount that we.
Right, and they, you know,
determine.
their reply was, that would be great, anything would be helpful, you know, so.
Because they're gonna have to get them one way or the other.
Well, and then my next slide was specifying that, you know, the funds remaining there with everything that's already been obligated, everything that we're waiting to come in. There is a remaining of $2,638,108.00 there.
Now, the big part, we haven't agreed on yet, so there we are.
Correct, well, and I'm just saying that these companies, depending on how much you'd wanna fund them, you would have it in the budget. And it would be a ticket item, and then it would be something that would have to wait a whole year or two anyway. Because with this allocation, we do have to remember that everything has to be obligated under contract by the end of 2024, which is 2 years away.
We want it obligated pretty quick.
Yeah.
Make up our mind and be pretty thinking about this. Okay, it seems like the consensus is that we look at doing a sub-recipient agreement for the water companies, and we'll decide on the amount. Is that correct? Is that what everybody's thinking? Sub-recipient for the water companies, and we're gonna rebid for the generators, and send a, bid to the person he has the information from.
Sure.
And then, of course, however else that you advertise for those bids.
Yes.
Perfect. What else?
What is your wish list? Is there anything else on the table that you are looking to fund? So we can keep that in consideration as well.
Well, we've already put bids out for road and bridge materials, is that right? But the amount that goes to that will depend on the amount we spend on the generators and for the water companies.
So they haven't started on those funds yet, because they don't know how much they're gonna get. So that was effective October 1st.
Sure.
Right.
But, they haven't started using them yet.
So if we can get those bids out again for the water, for the generators, for the generators, if we can get that out again, and as soon as we get that back, I think we can make our decisions. Okay, and then we'll go with the subrecipient agreement. And that's what you're recommending, is that right? All right. Okay. I'm good.
So that's what come to
We probably need to think about maybe 50 instead of 60. We're not gonna be able to buy a whole one anyway.
On the water companies, not all 10 of them, yeah. So, well, just like I talked to Kirby, and they need 2 of the smaller generators. They don't even small. So if you count them up, you come up to 469, and we had already plugged in 500, so we're below what we can do. We're 31,000 to the good.
Because we may end up, these may end up.
One thing we did not have in here is we didn't have,
Once you bid it and they get the bids last year.
this is emergency stations. We didn't have anything. We did on that portion. I had 70,000, it was a big difference.
It's right up
This was the last copy of this I got. We changed that. Here's the emergency. Right, but after talking to that man, he said it's the heat and all the stuff, he said there's no gas, he said we're only doing 36 AW. He said, so we're only talking about, below $50,000. Right up there, where it's, this one's going to be, he said it's strange, mine every time, just taking, and it's just so I just
Kind of like going to
Hope it's not that bad.
So that guy, I did my last one 2 years Oh, no, that's the way.
This is on election day?
Or does it show?
Okay.
Which doesn't work. And they did, these two did.
Can I ask how much money is in that yellow square she said that was their fee? Just as an interested citizen?
115,000.
115, 155, 115, okay.
Great, thank you. I was just talking to Karen, and we wanted to ensure that with the 14 generators, if we're going to go back out to bid, do you still want to include the Donny building this time around, or take anything out?
We need to talk about that list
No.
again. We may want to revise that list just a little bit.
Yes, before we go
The
out.
deal was there.
That was air conditioner, that
Yeah.
was, that
We were,
was.
man, anybody supposed to be down there.
We
We didn't have no permission to do
What about
that.
the fire department?
Yeah, what was gonna do the fire
You
department.
know,
Yes, don't, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get our list out and review
They're gonna get
that,
back
and
to you on
then,
that. Okay.
and we'll do that after we, well, we can do it right now.
No,
You have the list, here, I could go get my list of the
I got
generators.
it.
Yeah,
Hey, no, I can water.
Look at the generator list.
I have, it's mine.
Okay.
It's good.
Emergency and fire right here.
Okay, let me get mine.
Fire department, see.
I don't see that, I don't see that.
Roll your for What's that? This, are you talking about this? That's in there?
Still not on, what are you looking for?
Yes, last
I think
name.
there were two things. She had one and then there was another one.
Oh, but he's on that list. There's been other copies right now. Are there, that? The project manager.
Well, that's the generator, you're talking about the project.
Yeah, projects, I know.
This is,
She may come.
here's a list of the projects.
Well, that's where we're going over yonder.
Oh, yeah.
On the second.
The second.
And that's detail.
All right.
Oh, you do? They knew you were like that. Carry your uncle's.
I've got some Leah stuff. I don't see no fire department.
I'll look and see what kind.
I got them on the fire department generator.
Yeah.
For,
Yeah.
yes, because we
Yeah,
put
they're
an
on
air
there.
conditioner that's a heat and air.
Yeah, the air conditioner is for the community center.
Yeah,
Community
but
center,
fire
and
department,
that's
they're on
what
there.
I'm saying.
Okay, I don't have that, or if that
I'll
sheet's
make
in
you
here.
copies of these. I think what we're going to
No, I
do
mean, here we go. Here we go.
is,
I got it. Yeah, I
each
got it.
person, each of these has a list, a complete list. So if each of you would review what is in your precinct and make changes as to what you want for your precinct, and then bring that in, we'll coordinate it and send a list to you, new list to you.
That sounds good. And Commissioner Lord, if you can give me the company that you're referring to, I'll make sure that they're on that San.gov website. I believe they are. They work for another city. But just to double check and to have that.
Okay. I will,
And this is our sub-recipient thing that we'll be working with, you think?
You know,
That's what you originally gave me. I'll give this back
Is
to
it that
you.
long?
And, because you made it revised,
I think it's a little updated, yes.
updated.
and I gave, the South Keystone County that
Mhm.
so that they can see what they would be looking at
Yes.
for their part of it if they were a subrecipients. So they have a copy of that blank right there.
Oh, yes.
Y'all can
I give it to
look at
them
the
just so they can
generators
see
that y'all
Sure.
want.
how much
So
it'll be on
let's-
them.
Sure,
let's-
sure.
Y'all talk
And it's a lot
about,
of extra.
what we
not
want
as long as you
changed
think it is.
in your area.
I don't know about changing anything. Y'all already established what we needed there, right? On the fire stations.
Well, we'll
All
get,
the all the fire
a new list.
stations, yeah, we're
Well, and I will
Community
just
center,
say,
warming,
Good job.
emergency stations.
comparing the
Everything
quotes,
work out.
So
some of
did-
them said natural
Did,
gas,
yeah.
some of them said propane,
One thing
some of them
I
were
heard
different
is
kilowatts,
the
so
same
maybe that will be
thing.
something to take in consideration, what you prefer.
I don't think that will change.
Okay.
It's just that there may be a few changes on whether or not we do a couple of the warming stations, is what I'm thinking.
There's a couple of
We have
them
to
that
pare down a
the
little
buildings
bit.
are so large that it's gonna be a
It's so,
way larger generator than they originally thought.
I have a question, so would we wanna go with the specs that, like, are right on, like on the sheet from the other quotes? Would we wanna use those specs, or would we want that guy that you're talking to, would you want him to go look at everything and write what he thinks, write down, that way?
He gave me a verbal that we could talk about in court. I told him we would be talking about this today. And, when he said 13.5, that was, with the generator and the switch to be able to be set within 15 feet of the meter. The majority, there's no problem, because the majority of these meters are either on the building or within 15 foot of the building, where we want the generator set anyway. So, he said the only thing that could change on that was just the freight. He said sometimes, if I'm only getting one generator, the freight's higher on it than if I'm getting 6 coming in. And he don't know how many he's gonna receive when he receives them.
He may wanna come look at them with you.
Right.
Yeah, that's what he said.
But, anyway,
We're pretty good at carrying them around.
Yeah, y'all are doing a good job, I appreciate it.
Right, yeah, good.
So do you want to carry them around first before?
I just want to talk to him. Let me just call him and talk to him.
Okay.
I would just ensure that it definitely is a turnkey operation. It includes the slab and installation, the generator coming in, all of that.
It
And
does.
that's what I was gonna ask, is he gonna do the slab?
Yes, that's the base for it to set on. The one thing that he does, the way he does his in order is that any of these places that do not have natural gas or propane, we would need a tank set there, and it would have to have a line run over, and that has to be done by a plumber. He said that they don't do that. And if we have existing natural gas at a location where we decided that generator's gonna set, a plumber has to go ahead and run that gas line over. It needs to be available for them, so once they set and get the wiring done, they wanna test it. He said it should take them, they should have to come to each location 3 times, and that's included in their bid. If they get there one of those 3 times and something's not ready because we didn't have a plumber run the line over there to it, it's $125 an hour and 60 cents a mile.
So the plumbing and the electrician are separate from their fee?
Just the plumbing,
Just the plumbing? Okay.
just the gas line.
Okay.
Yeah. Which he said, that, like he said, if Nelson Propane, which is our local closest propane company, if they're gonna come out and set a propane tank, that they're the ones that run the line over to the point where the generator's gonna be anyway. But the company that we're talking about, they do 100% electrical. That's all included in the bid, the switch, electrical, and everything. And the generators are a little bit bigger than the ones that we got quoted, size-wise. Which should mean that they run easier and be more fuel efficient.
And I will wait for those updated lists, and then we'll work on that sealed bid. Is there anything else I can help you with for the moment?
You count.
Okay,
Appreciate you coming and explaining.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having us,
I
and
appreciate it, I think we're on a clear path.
sounds
Thank you
good.
very much.
You know how to
Thank y'all, appreciate y'all coming.
Sure, thank you.
I think, okay, do you have on the emergency stations? Do you have a list of these? Emergency stations? All right, the only thing I have on here is those two.
Yes, I got, yeah.
Maybe not doing those two.
I'll send that to you if we need to find it.
Because they're so long.
Yeah.
Or we can isolate certain parts of it.
Yes,
So
I'll
the
show you.
generator just,
You can just hand it, you can just give it to me whenever.
Yeah, ain't that when you use that March 1st? I think that one's huge.
Yeah, so is that one worth?
why don't y'all all decide on the ones, like we said, in your area?
I think we need to look at treatment at City Hall. I think the fire department, size-wise and what they can accommodate, I think it's smarter just to put one at the fire department. City Hall's not gonna hold nobody nowhere.
Then they were thinking about elections being there too.
At the City Hall.
Oh, okay, so not bad at all. So
It'll be a small one.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It'll be an easy install.
And then when I'm ready for it, I'll send it off.
Perfect.
It's never happened, but I just think sometimes about if something should happen on election day, whether it be a total county-wide or, you know, maybe it's just an area or whatever, if they had something available as a generator, we could go forward with our elections too. Of course, we'll have
As I
elections.
said, but we're gonna have so many other boxes that don't have,
Yeah.
because the Butler Senior Center don't have a generator. And then the, I don't think Chamber of Commerce does, do they?
No, Greenborn doesn't either.
Are we
See,
moving that?
and I'm assuming, of course, I got in after that the ball was rolling on all this, that everybody's
still
talked
rolling.
to chick. I mean, you know, they talked to somebody
Somebody at that church?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it took them a long time to make their mind up, and of course, there was no guarantees, but
Yeah,
the way it's wired, I mean, there's 200 amp services going into that building.
at 8th Avenue,
Yes, 8th Avenue.
what about First Baptist? Because that's where they voted.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's half the
big
size,
building.
it's
Yeah.
half the size, maybe less.
It was a warming station is what we were counting on.
Yeah.
We weren't,
Right.
Yeah, we wasn't looking at both boxes.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it would be a double deal.
Yeah.
Is what I'm reason I said
Yeah.
that. But it's, yeah, First Baptist is a whole lot. It may be it's half or less as big as 8th
Did Craig talk to them
well,
about
we weren't
this?
gonna do the whole building, we were gonna do,
No, this was after the fact.
Was it after?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
because,
whatever box, yeah, because you don't need to.
I dealt directly with, Brother Sean Silver,
Yeah,
and,
on 8th Avenue.
and then they had it at a men's meeting, church, for that.
So I think that would be the question. Confirm up to. And see, at one time I thought there was somebody that we were going to take out as one, and that's where I had senior services there.
Did y'all look at First Baptist or just 8th Avenue?
Just 8th Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because I put calls out to both, and I don't know if they talked amongst themselves or not, but 8th Avenue's the one that called me back originally.
First Baptist never did.
Sean, yeah.
I said, we have, you're right, we have an emergency station in Butler at the Shiloh Church. So if it was a voting time.
We were doing that, and we did that because of senior meals.
Right, which is a benefit if it's an emergency situation, because a lot of times the churches will help with the meals too.
And there goes again, as far as the size of the building and the size of the generator, one at the church, so a lot smaller, a lot cheaper than putting one on that big building
Yeah,
that we don't own or.
yeah, that's right. Now, see, I have Fairfield as a senior center for an emergency station. You don't have that?
I just didn't have nothing there. No, that's not the right part.
Well, Fairfield, it says Fairfield, and the senior center.
That's, like I said, that's just gonna be a lot bigger generator.
Right.
But it may not be as big as what we got quoted from those other two companies. Because that man said yesterday to find out how many, if the heat was on gas and the kitchen equipment was on gas, then he said probably a 36 kW would do it, which would be half the size of what we were looking at putting in there.
But I have that down as one of our stations, is what I'm saying. So it wouldn't be that much more, even if it
Right.
was a bigger one, because we already have some. Put it in on that. Okay, so we need to firm up our, generator situation and get that to her. So if y'all have any changes,
Do we have an updated copy? I mean, do y'all have something that's updated to the most updated copy?
I think I've given them to you at some point, but we'll do it again.
I can make you a copy of this. Only thing I need to add in here is, you know, I still not gonna have a number for it, but senior services.
Which one is that now, the ARPA fund?
Mhm.
And is that this one?
7/12, no, mine says 7/8/9.
Okay, I can't remember what, something on here changed.
I thought
Okay,
that
that's
was-
35 up there, see, it was 33, 35.
Yeah, I done that at a meeting though.
Yeah, but I mean, there's been some, yeah. All right, do we want to go over one of these all individually, so we all have the same thing and I'll retype it, or do you? How do we want to do it?
Give me a list, here we go.
Give me a list,
Give me a list.
and let's put on the fire department.
That's got all of them listed. Will that help? Will that make copies of that?
And what now?
If I make copies of this, would that help? It's got them all listed right there. If y'all needed to see a list of them,
Sure.
that way y'all get,
Okay, and is that all generators, or is that just?
that's all, that's included down in Rock building.
That's a combination of emergency
Of
station
emergency
and
and
fire.
fire?
Yes, so y'all can decide, oh, that's all of them.
That'd be good.
Let's go at the top, let me ask you, are we gonna do the Shiloh Church at Butler? Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Generator? Yeah.
All right, are we gonna do the Corinth Church at Duke as an emergency station?
I have them down for
Did we go right there? Yeah.
Yeah.
City Hall at Streetland, are we leaving that one?
Yes.
Emergency station, the Baptist at P,
We need to do something.
or I'm gonna leave
Yeah.
it Baptist, if you change it, you can tell me.
But if you do part of 8th Avenue, like just that, not the gymnasium
Well,
part.
we're not doing the gym. We
Oh,
just
no,
did
yeah.
the end.
Yeah, it wasn't a gym, we were just trying to do the,
Where, yeah, the little,
We had the-
where you eat, you know, the,
Yeah.
yeah, the little
Yeah.
set there.
Yeah.
right.
And
The
with
reception
one
area.
shouldn't cover it, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
One, I mean.
Let's see what they put on here for
What about Wortham First Baptist?
it. Huge.
Freestone Community Center and Fairfield is the senior services. That's
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 emergency stations.
Right.
What about, at Southern Oaks?
No, they used to,
They
Fire
have,
station.
Fire department.
fire department, that's on the opposite list.
okay, that's not emergency.
Oh, okay.
Now, for the fire
Kind of the same with
departments,
Donnie, we're just gonna let them.
yeah,
use
for the fire departments, I have Butler Fire,
Yeah,
Dew Fire,
yeah,
Donny Fire,
yeah.
Fairfield Fire, no, because they already have one.
Kirby.
We're getting them other things. Curvin, Southern Oaks, Streetman, Teague, no, Fire, Wortham,
Jig
no.
got one.
Teague, no, and Wortham, no. Is that correct?
So we're gonna put one in the Streetman in the city hall and one in the fire station?
Unless you
That's
say
what
no.
we've got down right now.
That's what we have now.
Okay.
City Hall is a warming station and the fire department. Okay? And then we have the extra things that people have asked for in the middle of this. All right, so let me see what we've got on here that's not on this list. Which is Butler Fire, Corinth Church, Dew Fire, and do we have the Dew emergency? No.
Yeah, it's under
Dew
the,
Church?
yep. Fire department, and then on the other one it says,
Oh, Corinth Church, that's
Corinth
that.
Church, yep.
Okay, and then Streetland too, Donny Fire, Freestone Community Center. Freestone, the community center, Curvin Fire, Shiloh Church, Southern Oaks, Wortham Activity, Teague Community, the
You've got the
jail.
community center down there,
Yeah,
You mark off Donny Rock building.
so,
yeah, Donny Fire is getting one.
Right, but you mark off the last one somebody's live. It's not the rock building, Donny Fire gets one.
Correct, that, I hadn't gotten that far,
Oh, I'm
that
sorry.
one at the bottom,
Yeah.
Donny Rock Building,
Yeah,
no.
we said, we didn't,
We-
we're
we've
doing
already-
it, did we?
We've
Laura?
already got that, I think, the air conditioning.
We were there by
heat.
mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now, The jail is on here also.
We're gonna let him look at that when he comes. Well, this same brand he sells.
You s-
It
Well,
is the same brand as Cummins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the guy calls it, and sells Cummins.
so we can mark that one off.
I think so.
I do too.
I mean, Ron's just fine.
And we have senior services levy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Okay.
10, 11, 12, 13.
Let me ask you a question. You got T Community Center down.
We got the
That's
Freestone.
supposed to be,
That's supposed to be one of the
Church.
churches.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just clearing that up.
yeah,
Which one?
I seen it a while ago.
It says T Community Center, but it's supposed to be one of the churches.
Eighth
Eighth
Yeah.
Avenue. Okay, I just making sure, I'm just clearing that up.
Okay, so each of you has, would you go make copies of this?
I don't really need
6 or 7.
6.
And so we've marked off the Donny Rock building and the jail. And so that this 13 matches that 13.
And like at church, if you be part of it, you wouldn't need an 80K, would you, for just a portion of it?
No.
What's going about the cooking in there? You know, they, I mean, they look.
What I wish we could do
They
is
look
on
at
the
the market.
emergency shelters, I wish we could just stick with them 20 kW generators. Find a place to make them work. And that way we know what the cost is gonna be,
Yeah.
you know, rather than having the only one I think that's gonna be different, which gets used daily, would be down here at senior services. Which
Okay,
would
there's
be
the
important to,
updated list.
but like I say, if we can get a 36 kW for down there, then it'd be about like buying 220s. Price wise.
Okay, look at that
Thank you.
updated list and see if that is what you have on all your separate sheets that are writing. The first column is generators. The next is just various things
Yeah.
that they have requested, and the last is emergency stations.
Yeah, that's the same list I had. Date this
So
one.
that's 13 of them.
But we don't have, like, on the do fire, like Jaws of Life equipment they were asking for, it's not filled in on here.
Well, they asked for $150,000 to redo their building.
Oh, we canceled all that.
All right, the new list, that's true.
Yeah,
I don't have
They
that.
have, they have a new list, so we have it on this one. We have them plugged in at 66,000.
66, okay.
And it was for,
And what else? What else do you have that's not on this list? Write that on there, 66,000.
Oh, do you?
On you.
Fairfields is a side-by-side instead of that.
yeah, it's not racks and cabinets,
They,
and then we bumped them up to 35,000 on, we talked about it in court last time, so it's
yeah, on the Fairfield Fire,
Yeah.
they're getting something different. It's not the.
Side by
racks
side with the
cabinets
trailer.
anymore. Yeah. But about 35 is what we have in there.
Mhm.
We'll see when we get our vote back.
Okay.
Okay, what other change?
like on that Workham line right there, that fire truck.
103.
It's
Yeah.
103.
should be
It's not gonna
57.
be ready till February sometime, so if that money's just sitting somewhere, we might want to put it somewhere where it makes some.
Yeah,
Put
16.
2.2 million
Don't get
into
16 on this list.
draw interest.
On the knee list,
Which list? This one?
Did it on the 14th.
Both of them, everything together.
Yeah, I mean,
If
it-
you wanted more than
Here,
it's
that,
$100,000 right there, you can put somewhere.
Here, this one.
I mean,
Kind
2.2.
of
I have
1,
13.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
we're making
8,
about
9,
2
10,
point,
11, 12, 13.
I'd have to
When
look
we
at
mark
exactly,
those
but
two
it's
off
almost
on
three
Karen's
we're making.
list, she had 13.
Okay,
Yeah, there are two on the bottom.
Are there any
Yeah,
other
on the bottom.
other
It's a real both columns.
changes on
Yeah,
here?
okay.
So we-
I can think about
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
we've got 2.2, which covers that.
like I said, we're still gonna need to plug in a number for the generator,
I said, I
Fairfield Senior Services, so we don't have anything in this blank right here.
Right here?
But
We just don't want to
have-
spend your, we
only-
can't, you know, if we're gonna allocate.
That may not be the right amount. Because see, that's what we
We
have.
can't put it in
Right.
Fairfield, because we're gonna give an allocation to y'all.
So the 13 is right, we just need to adjust the prices. Okay.
That's the thing, once we allocate to y'all, we put 2.2 million in textbook. So we don't wanna allocate it all, because we will be allocating it to y'all once y'all come up with a figure. Then if y'all want to put it in textbook, in your own separate,
Yeah.
we can do that too.
Yeah.
So,
All right, is there anything else on this sheet that you see? I can retype it, or you can just use that one with a little bit of write-in figures on there. This one is the summary. I think that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, it's right here.
As far as this part, but
Right.
then we have a,
I like this sheet right here, better than going off that. There's a whole lot of,
Street rent is like 57.
that's just a summary, kind of, yeah. Yeah, and it has 13 generators, that's not the correct price. I need to change all these to at least 15 on here.
I got so many darn lists
Yeah,
that I've saved.
I like the one that Karen gave us, got the money on it.
but it ain't right.
Well, no, it ain't, but I like looking at it. It's a piece of paper. Just a piece of paper.
15, and there's,
so is,
that's gonna make our generators, if they were 15, some will be a little less and some more. But that's, so that's gonna be 250 or less. We hope.
That's a lot of difference.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'll tell you. No, it's more than that.
Also, mark that off.
I think that's,
Then once we get those, we can readjust that, road and bridge amount. Yeah, this is a better summary, this is just a backup of where we think they're gonna be, that, okay, you say, all right, what else?
so Judge Grant, is this list minus the Donna?
Last two,
Yes, and the prison, and the jail.
minus the last two,
Donnie and the jail.
Donnie
Leave
and
senior
jail.
services in
yeah,
there.
not the last two, Donnie and the jail,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so the only other thing that we'll need for the bid is we'll need a spec list of, for each building that, so she can send it out in the bid packet. And if anybody should come and want a bid packet, that we would have, so everybody's bidding on the same thing.
Exactly.
What we might ought to do too, on the water, because we've got Donnie that only asked for 22,000 because they need a smaller generator. Now, I'm sure that fixed generator has had those 4 price increases since then. So we should probably get this company that's gonna come rebid, let them get with Donnie and see what that's gonna cost, because if we could just include it in, it's because, and in the same way at Kirby, theirs was like 2
We can buy them
smaller.
outright.
Yes, just buy them,
yes.
and
Get
they'll
with
be
the
installed for them and
sure.
everything. Because the way I had it figured, if theirs were 2 of the small ones, then probably 27,000 would cover that
Yeah.
water company.
Yeah,
So,
that's a great idea.
because there's 9, I'm showing 9 water systems that we've talked about. So,
Yes, adding Kirby, Point Enterprise, and Winkler, that would be 9.
and
would it be easier to, what you said, hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, to just buy it and put the money over the road and bridge?
Not do the sub-recipient thing?
Yeah. And then what you said an hour or two ago?
Yeah, because we could, what we could do would be a contract for services if we did
Just
that.
hire the guy, cost the guy.
Contract for services for whatever amount that we decide on the other generator, rather than doing the sub-recipient. Whichever you decide.
Because, yeah,
Yeah. I like to do the fire departments with our contract for services. Yeah.
I'm thinking about that, that's risk.
But see, they got 10 here, and it's supposed to be 9. Two of them are asking for
We get to choose our amount,
$7,000
do
generator. So
the,
that's
do the
why
agreement with them, give them that amount,
here's,
and,
Well, just hire this guy to put the generator in. Put the generator in. And pay the man.
Yeah, either way, yeah,
What's that 100,000?
then you know,
I didn't come up.
you know what your cost is, we'll be done.
That's what this would be.
Road and bridge will be through.
Yeah, but that's
Not
an
really,
old
because
sheet.
we're
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
get
just
out.
saying, is there still that much there?
But they can do that fairly.
Is there still that much
They've
there?
got all that package ready.
Because the
Just do those.
change.
But be thinking about that,
yeah,
and we can make that decision. We wanna just do,
that.
The water that
that
other
might
way.
eliminate a lot of risks.
Just one hand.
Yeah.
Water systems, just,
Yeah.
they're gonna do it right. We know that.
Just
because
do
they have
what?
to for TCEQ.
And we're dealing with one
pay
person.
for it,
Yeah.
and then just let the money was gonna go back to road and bridge, and then let it, instead of,
That's what I'm sitting here talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot less easier on everybody.
Are y'all talking about for the water companies?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where the contract for service comes in.
Yes, that's where that comes in.
That's where that comes in.
Yes.
I was a little, okay, the contract, if we did a contract for service, like we do with the fire, you know, we're not given, because we can't give donation, but they do something for us, we do
service
something.
to the county.
Yes, they provide,
Just like the fire department.
yeah.
Do those agreements, do it for however much we wanna do on the water. And be through.
envelope simple.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
So, what y'all think about it then till, let's get our generators done. They can get that out real quick if you can get that information from your.
You're just gonna call and talk to the guy and see if he's interested.
And they
I
can
know
rebid
they're
it.
interested. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I
But
talked
you
to
said
them a long
you were
time
gonna talk.
yesterday.
And they've
I
already
told them I'd
got,
call them the day before.
they've already got the packets ready that they used before. That's all they have to do is repost and do it.
So all we need is a sheet of each place and the spec for it, like that. Just
For your house.
But y'all, that,
For
off
him?
the bid, ought to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
there.
it'll be out, we already have it.
Right, but we have to have what he's gonna bid on, so if somebody else wants to come bid, if they were to ask for a bid packet,
Well,
they're,
in that bid packet, everybody gets the same specs.
yes.
So the same
But I'm
specs.
Yes,
saying,
so that's what we
already
need.
written on that.
So
bid.
whatever he wants to bid on, that guy, whatever he thinks is what the specs need to be.
It will be for everybody.
It'll be for everybody.
It'll be for everybody, so it'll all be
So carry them around.
the same.
Where are we not, Andy?
Can I have like a list of the generators and the places and all that to
No,
go
you
in the
can't.
minutes? Because this
You
is.
didn't write all that down?
This is.
No, you can't. It's just discussion.
Okay.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Discussion, because we're still discussing.
Discussing.
And,
Discussing and discuss, yeah.
Yeah.
the only thing we've actually decided is
Discussing.
we want to rebid the generators.
Yeah.
We want Grant Works to rebid the generators.
So this is-
And
I just talked about all this ARPA.
That's it.
That's really all we definitely decided,
Okay.
so we're still in the works. Perfect, okay.
I still have a question.
Think about that, though. I think that would be the easiest way. Even though the grant works would do all that sub-recipient stuff. Yes, sir.
Before we adjourn, I found this little replat application in my book here, and it says that it is signed, and it's got their name down there, it's dated 9/3/22. It says the following is to be submitted to the Freestone County Judge. The only thing is replat, notarized and all that. On the fees, I wonder if they brought the fees anywhere.
They wouldn't bring it to us.
I wonder where they would.
You know, if they brought the fees to you on those plats.
No.
They generally wouldn't until we approve it, and then we give it to her, and so before she gives it to them, they pay the fee.
Can we approve it and then give it to her, and then when they come
We
pay
can hold it until
they
they're
come
ready
pay?
to file it.
Yeah.
And that's when they pay, is when
Yes.
they file it.
You want us to sign all that today? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we're looking for a phone number on there to
It's on the
contact
backing
them.
sheet.
Is this the phone number back here?
Yes.
Okay, we
Okay.
can do
To
that.
approve it, when you go, and
Yeah.
then.
All right, let's go back to number, what is that?
Number 18.
Let's go back to number 18.
Just it.
The consideration of the,
Wilderness Phase 1 replat of 9.75 acres to a final plat of lots 33A-R2 and 33A-R3. And I make that in a motion that we approve that replat,
subject to fees
subject to
being
the
paid.
fees being paid.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Motion carried. Is that it?
No comments.
Comments, yes.
Leonard Smith called me Sunday. Somebody in the family I couldn't hear real good was having surgery. We hope everything goes good there. That's why Leonard's not here today. But Leonard had, applied for a grant for us to get new consoles for dispatch. And even if we got approved, we were looking at being a year out before we could get them. But he's found out now that we are gonna get them. The last stamp on it should be this week, but it's got the signature that it has to have before the stamp, so it's going through. And he says that it looks like we could have these before the end of the year. And so that's a couple $100,000 worth of goods that he's done, and a great thing. And that was kind of part of our communication problem when Tig was having trouble the other day, was in the console. So getting the new console should make it safe for everybody using the radio, safer.
Judge Grant, and also, Hot Coms biannual, is opened up to go out for grants for the second biannual for the swag. And so if anybody, I think I talked to Lloyd about it, but if anybody has things that they might wanna go out for.
Why don't you maybe give us a little list of what they can go out for?
Okay.
Call them there and tell them to give you the ideas of what other people have put in.
And I still have all those
Tired
stuff
all off.
from last time too, of what people did go out for.
Well, let's see what all different things that people have done, and maybe she can give us some suggestions also. Great, thank you.
What is it?
All right.
Swag, second biannual.
Can we spread all them out on that table?
We all have to
We
sign.
can adjourn and then sign.
Yeah,
Yeah. Did I second? Who seconded? Have we adjourned?
we have a motion and a second.
You did that.
Adjourned.
Okay.
Lloyd
Andy made the motion,
Lloyd second.
Lloyd seconded.